Welcome back. We are talking about the Fall Films series, of course, happening every Thursday night. So we're previewing a documentary this time around, and I think it's one that we've been sort of working up to. This is a really important one called The Cleaners. And I'll just ask you, Terry Ann, first of all, what is this really about? I know that social media is a huge focus of this documentary.
Right. Well, first-time documentary filmmakers, German filmmakers, there's Moritz Reiswijk and Hans Block came together when they discovered this situation where people are outsourced quietly, third-party, to digitally clean up the internet,
right,
and to utilize their, I guess, their judgment on what stays and what goes. And at first pass, this sounds like a really great idea, but what Moritz and Block end up doing through the course of the documentary is starting to put us in a position where we get to watch and see why this is problematic, or why this is, you know, a bigger issue than we're maybe aware of in our day-to-day use of social media.
And of course, social media is so prevalent in our lives now. I mean, it's, but it's not always a good thing. It can sometimes, you know, be used for things that aren't as positive. Would you say that this documentary is a portrait on sort of how we're the use of social media, the use of our online lives, the 21st century online life?
I think it's a portrait of a number of things, isn't it?
Yeah, it portrays a lot of different aspects.
Right.
The domination of the internet on our way of thinking, and the unfortunate results of having the corporatization of our media, and our exposure to the experience of being alive, you know, is so mediated by now the internet that we have to question, you know, what effect is it having on ourselves, and not so much us of a certain age, but on our children, because they're growing up in a world that's totally dominated by this.
Okay, well, before we go any further, we have the trailer of this documentary, The Cleaners. Just take a look.
Delete. Ignore. Ignore.
Delete. Delete.
Ignore. Ignore. Delete.
Companies decide what can stay up and what must be taken down.
Delete.
Outsourcing should be disturbing to people in democratic societies.
There are tens of thousands doing this work. All of it's done in secret.
They need to be anonymous because we have a contract sign in. Ignore.
Our decisions will impact what 2 billion people are thinking.
If you commit one mistake, it could trigger war.
Delete. I've seen hundreds of beheadings. Ignore. Delete. Ignore. Delete. Delete. Ignore. Delete. Delete. Ignore. Delete. Ignore. Delete.
The danger is that we might lose democracy because we're willing to give it up.
Yeah, that's it is shot like a thriller almost. It's
noir,
intense,
very noir thriller kind of.
Yeah. So this is quite a special event that you're having tomorrow. And not only do you get to see this documentary, The Cleaners, but there's also a speaker beforehand, Brian Lamb, who I know you spoke about a few weeks in a row while we were here, just to give people an idea that he will be speaking. But how important is it to have him tomorrow night?
Well, I think having speakers like Brian come out and bring their expertise into a space where we can meet in public forum, where it's sort of a manifestation of what we've moved away from in a lot of ways, which is coming together in real time, in real space, face to face, focusing and being present to discuss something that's affecting all of us and affecting our global community. And I think there is power in coming together in public spaces to have discourse, to have dialogue, to discuss things that are affecting us, and to be able to ask questions, and to work with someone like Brian or speak with someone like Brian, who has made this a focus of his career for 20 years. So if you think about everything you do in the course of your day, in your professional sphere, and then think about this is someone who has applied all of that time to these issues, and he will have some really interesting, riveting perspectives to share with us, and also be somebody that we can, I think, turn to maybe perhaps for some a deepening of our understanding of the matter. And maybe if we're really lucky, together we can start by understanding this more, figuring out how we are actually going to tackle it as a global community, because it is a major issue.
And he's he's the online expert, Tom, isn't he?
Yeah, he brings a perspective of an insider. He understands not only the great benefits that the internet can bring on social media, but the dangers. And I think we're blind to many of the dangers. I mean, this documentary clearly shows that a lot of the decisions about what we see are not made democratically. They're not made by citizens working together. They're made by corporate outsourcing people who may not have the same values that we have. And that's really the unfortunate thing, because the internet has become a value-driven medium. And it's really unfortunate when we don't know what we're being denied seeing, and what we're still allowed to see, even though it can be really negative.
This is going to be an eye-opening documentary. You can catch it tomorrow night, Thursday night, at the Paramount Theatre, 7 p.m. And for more information, KamloopsFilmSeries.ca. And you won't want to miss Brian Lamb, who will be speaking before the documentary airs.
That's right, before 6 p.m. at the library in the mezzanine.
Oh, just across the street.
Yes, just across the street.
Good.
So that speaker event starts at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And then we'll have just enough time to get over before the film screens at 7.
Right, perfect. We won't want to miss it. Thanks, you guys, very much for joining us. We'll be right back with Linda Coles. Stay with us.